This is the voice of freedom. We are not one voice. We are many. We are your voice. But we can only be effective if you use your voice. Your voice. This is the voice of freedom. We will not hide from the truth. We will ask the hard questions until we are sure we have the truth. Welcome to the voice of freedom, where your voice will never be silenced.
Well, hello, folks. Welcome back to another Voice of Freedom episode. It's been a bit sparse this week. I apologise. If it's a bit cold where you are, I'm thinking of you. I was out of bed at 4 o'clock this morning, and while it was 8 degrees, about the coldest I saw it where I am, I know it's been a lot colder in a lot of other places. So if that's you at the moment and you're going through howling winds and all that, my thoughts are with you. Don't come to Queensland. It's not much better at the moment, I can tell you. But it will be tomorrow. Isn't that the way it normally works? So this week's been a fairly hectic week, and it's been fairly busy trying to get some news on the Aussie Cossack. He appeared in court on Monday. Now, I can tell you that there is a fair bit happening in the background on the Aussie Cossack's case. His new legal team have taken firm control, I think would be the way you would describe at best what's happening with the Cossack at the moment. So let's talk about a few things that we know that had happened. We've all seen the Aussie Cossack channel. There has been some various descriptions as the Cossack channel has been taken down. It hasn't been taken down. His videos have been taken down. The channel is still up. So that indicated to me straight away that the Aussie Cossack himself took those videos down. They weren't court-ordered or indeed done via YouTube. YouTube would have just taken down the whole channel. They haven't done that. They've only just taken down the videos. So that's probably a good thing. He wound up in court, and on Monday, because those videos were taken down, it changed the conditions he was held under, which gave them cause to put in a new bail application. I believe there was a pleading that happened at that case on Monday. And bear in mind, nobody is allowed access into the court for these. In fact, I doubt that Mrs. Cossack even had access. She may have, but if she did, she would have been the only one. So they are limiting this because the Aussie Cossack has been deemed of national security interest, is how it's been quoted to me. Now, I've never heard of anybody being told they are of national security interest before. If national security were interested in you, telling you that would be the last thing they would do, I would have thought. However, one can assume that with his reports on the Ukraine-Russian conflict and his obvious support for Vladimir Putin, that it has raised a few eyebrows of certain members of the intelligence community. So they have stamped him apparently of some intelligence/terrorism risk, and he is being held in maximum security in isolation because he still refuses to be jabbed. Now, the court case on Monday, I think he would have applied for bail. For some reason, that has been refused again. I dare say it will be because of those national security implications, which we all know are, just a piece of, well, anyway. So at any rate, he will be waiting until June 30th at this stage, where he will be sentenced. Now, I'm led to believe on Monday he pled guilty to at least 2 charges. They are the 2 most serious charges, being mentioning the name in public and then publishing that name as well, which happened via the YouTube and associated other channels he was streaming to. Now, he will be held over by the looks of it because we haven't been told that he's out, and he certainly hasn't been in contact with anybody. If he is out, then we can assume he'll be back in court for sentencing on the 30th of June. And I suspect that it's going to net him a sentence of at least 12 months jail, out in 9 would be my guess. He will have already done 6 weeks of those 9 at least. So I think there is a big chance the Aussie Cossack's going to spend Christmas in jail this year, as bad as that sounds to everybody. Yes, there is certain conditions I think have been placed on the family. I think it's easier for the court to deal with the Aussie Cossack when he isn't the Aussie Cossack and when there aren't thousands of people out in front of the court jeering and carrying on. So I think that in part is why news has been sparse and so very quiet, and so too has the footprint on particularly the Telegram channel and others. Now, we are in contact with Mrs. Cossack. She's having a fairly decent time of it at the moment. She's got support around her, and I do believe that they've put up a GoFundMe page. So, if you're at all interested in donating to that, then you can head off to the Telegram channel and find out the full details for that. We are, of course, still trying to send postcards to the Aussie Cossack, but we have a change of address for him. So, if you've already sent a postcard, there is half a chance that he hasn't got it. And that is because a significant number, which we weren't told about initially, we've now been informed of. So that number, as you can see on the screen, is 603977. That is his inmate number, I dare say. So 603977. If you don't include that on your postcard, he will never receive the postcard. It'll just, stay somewhere until they throw them all out, I suppose. So if you are going to send the Aussie Cossack a postcard, let him know that we are still thinking of him. Then that is the detail you need to include. I'll leave it up. Simeon Boykov, 603977 is the number for that. I'd just like to thank everybody for the comments that they're leaving on the videos. There've been quite a lot of comments put up both on previous Aussie Cossack updates and other stuff that I've put up, including some interviews with Ricardo Bosi. I'd really like to thank you all for your input, and good, bad, or indifferent. I'm not about hiding comments, so we're very happy to share that as possible. And to that end, what I'm going to do is put up a little clip here now. It'll just go through a few of the comments. I'm not going to really go over too many of them as they scroll through. There are some interesting things that I get sent from time to time too, and a couple of those memes will pop up on the way through. If you do have memes, I don't mind a joke either, and I'm very happy to share them. So if you've got something you'd like to share, by all means, leave it in the comments of the video, and I'll see it eventually. And I hope to be able to put a few of these through maybe once a week, or at least once every couple of weeks, just to let you know that we do sit down and read your comments. I've got to find out what you're thinking and feeling, because I can't ask the questions that you want to hear otherwise. I like to think that I only ask the questions that you want answers to. I'm no different to you. These are just the questions that raise up in my mind. So be really keen if you've got anything you'd like to add in, or if you see something funny, if you're a bit of a black-hearted humorist like I am, I'm always up for something like that. You may see evidence of that popping up on the screen anytime very soon. Hello to, I saw somebody from Tassie who, Andrew, yeah, right, bit chilly in Tassie, I bet, Andrew, absolutely. Word from the Aussie Cossack base, Paul, is that he is holding up really well. He's a very mentally strong man, and I don't think that we're going to see him suffering too badly, although things might change once he has been sentenced. And if that is a custodial sentence, he's got another sort of 8 or 9 months of looking at the inside of a cell by himself, because he is being held in segregation. I'm not completely sure how the New South Wales jail system works in that regard, whether or not they will force vaccinate him and then put him into a general population kind of thing. As he is currently in maximum security at Silverwater, I believe, talking to some people, that there is a chance that he may get recategorized as to an A or B category prisoner, which could mean that they shift him to Goulburn and possibly into Supermax. Now, this would be excessive, I would have thought, even for a court system gone mad. But they have taken the opportunity presented to them, and they are running with it as best they can. So the Aussie Cossack presented them with an opportunity to lock him up. And now that they've got him, they are throwing both books and just about everything, including the printing press, at him. So that is going to be something we're going to have to deal with in the coming weeks and months. And I'm sure Mrs. Cossack will come out and give us more advice as it comes to hand. Like I say, at the moment, we are trying very hard to not have a problem with getting lots of people out the front supporting him anywhere at the moment. I think they're trying to keep as low a profile as possible, just so that they don't annoy the court. Yes, thanks for the new haircut, Christian. Yeah, good for that. I did that myself. I've got a double crown. I've got one of those heads that's really hard to cut, and people have been complaining about it forever. But at any rate, I'll see what I can do about trying to ruffle it up. I did need to do something. I tend to be one of those blokes who doesn't shave often and doesn't get his hair cut when he should. I'm not used to sitting in front of a camera, so you'll have to forgive me for that. Now there is, if you happen to be in Queensland, more particularly southeast Queensland, and I don't think I have a screen grab of it at the moment, but what I will do is I'll put it up in the comments after this video. There is a Freedom Fighters Ball happening in Southport at the Southport Golf Club on June the 11th. Now, let me just get the details right in my head. I'll have to go to my phone, so pardon me while I go looking for Lindsay's phone number. Now, Lindsay uh, Temple has very kindly invited me and quite a number of other freedom fighters, along with everybody who has been part of this journey over the last little while, to this magnificent party. Now, tickets are, I think, $90 a person or $900 a table of 10. Southport Golf Club, June 11. I think it starts at 6 for pre-dinner drinks for a sit-down three-course meal at 7 o'clock. Live band, dinner, dancing, entertainment, bit of fun for everybody. I will get the flyer up eventually, and we'll see if we can't fill out. If there are a few people in southeast Queensland who are wanting to go, then get a hold of the Southport Golf Club. It's June the 11th is the night of the gig, and I think Q-Tix is where tickets are available from if you want to go and check it out. I think it's called the Red Dress and Black Tie Ball, something along those lines. So, ladies, if you like wearing red, it's going to be one of those sorts of nights. Ricardo Bosi has very kindly offered, you may have seen in the most recent chat that I did with him earlier this week, he has offered to sit down every week now and have a conversation. So we're going to be doing that regularly at 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday nights. So if you have questions for Ricardo, then by all means you can get them to me beforehand, and I'll ask them. I have the ability, if you want to supply your phone number, I have the ability to give you a call and record you asking the question if you want to do that. Very happy to put you on the air. Just while we're establishing what's going on with the different platforms, it's difficult for me at the moment to invite in everybody into the chats, and certainly difficult with Ricardo because everybody wants to talk to him. But we will get to a point where we'll have a few of you on with him in the coming weeks so that you can ask your own questions. But if you do have any, by all means, contact me either at tdvcarl@gmail.com, as in Tango Delta Victor, carl@gmail.com. Or you can leave a comment, and I'll get a hold of you somehow, and we will get you recorded and into the system so that you can ask your question when I get him on next. That's going to be pretty exciting. We'll have him every Tuesday night from 7:30 for an hour or so, and look forward to that. He and Rhiannon have unfortunately been struck down with a cold. I'm not going to say the lurgy because there is no such lurgy in their house, let me tell you. But they've both been struck down and are a little unwell later this week. Well, as this week has progressed, Ricardo looked pretty fit earlier this week, but he's gone down a bit. So I do have a little bit of news out of New South Wales, which is a bit upsetting. I've just been speaking with John from Blacktown Council. Now, John, along with 80 other workers, have been told that today will be their last day. They'll be welcome at work if they haven't supplied a program to either demonstrate they are getting vaccinated or they aren't getting vaccinated. They've been told that Monday they will not be welcome back if they cannot supply the details required by council. Now, it's a fairly big problem for council because that would be 80 workers taken out of the entire council workforce. And there is some doubts whether or not Blacktown Council can actually function with that many people taken out of the workforce and untrained people thrown in to replace them. So we're going to have a bit of a talk to John and maybe a few of the other guys involved with that over the weekend, and hopefully bring that to you either over the weekend or Monday. It will be a very interesting chat. They are putting together a challenge, a legal challenge towards it. And in fact, while I know we have a number of people who watch who have experienced similar issues, as in being sacked because they've not been jabbed. This might be one you want to tune in for, because there is a class action that's being started there too. And I'm sure that employees of some of those big supermarket chains and any other organization who wants to continue with these illegal activities while trying to impose these mandates. Mandate doesn't mean compulsory. Okay. Look up the word, folks. Don't look it up on Google. They changed the definition on Google. Look it up on something else. But mandate requires that you agree to whatever it is they want you to do. If you do not agree, there is nothing they can do to you. There is no punishment. Mandate requires you to agree. Do not agree. And mandates are not lawful. They are not legally protected in any way by the government. And any business who is unlawfully mandating their employees get jabbed, or they will not be allowed to work again, is putting themselves in an absolutely diabolical legal position. If you own a business and you're doing this, wake up to yourself. You are going to go to court. Your business will be shut down. You will be turned broke. You will owe so much to so many. So please wake up to yourselves, folks. Don't expect the government to come looking after you. Now, we have heard some anecdotal evidence, and I can't prove this, but trust me, people are looking. We have heard that some of the reasons that these big organizations, the big supermarket chains, the big councils, the big community groups, are continuing on with this madness of trying to enforce the jabs when nobody else is. And in fact, all of the bureaucratic bullshit has been removed. We've heard that the reason they are continuing with this is because they are getting some form of tax incentive, be that personally for people involved, or be that as a company, certainly for larger companies. They are also being given certain leniencies in how they're employing people, and more particularly, how they can get rid of people. They are getting certain protections afforded to them through other government agencies. Now, I don't know. You got to try and think about what other agencies could benefit big chains like that. And Fair Work Australia sort of springs to mind, but I have no proof that they're actually involved or anything like that. But you just got to try and wonder what other agencies would be involved. So that one immediately springs to my mind. I'd be interested to hear if you have any thoughts that spring to mind. So watch this space, folks. I think it's going to get very interesting. There are a number of legal cases coming up, legal challenges to this position that business is taking. And I say business broadly because it's business broadly getting tax incentives to keep doing this. Big business, big business. We're talking not saving 100,000 or 200 or even $1 million in tax. We're talking millions of dollars in, well, what else could we call them but bribes, to help business keep this absolute bullshit mandate crap going. So keep your eyes out if you hear of anything like that. We're very interested. Yes, you are absolutely right. Coercion is illegal. And I think we can all make arguments for coercion. We've had coercive tactics placed upon us at every turn. And now the government have removed their little safety net that they briefly gave for 2 years to business. And unfortunately, business don't realize that when it comes down to a court case, they won't be able to rely on the government told me to do this, because the government never, ever said it was mandatory to vaccinate. All they did was set the bureaucrats loose, and they made orders, not laws, orders by bureaucrats, unelected bureaucrats made orders to do this to us for the last 2 years. So do not be under any mistake whatsoever. Mandate does not mean compulsory. And if your boss is doing it, smile politely, sign the piece of paper and say, I'm going to see you in court and I'm going to own that great BMW you've got out the front. In fact, no, I'm not. I'm going to get a new one just on the money I'm going to make off you. Because that's what's coming, folks. Those people do not have a leg to stand on, those businesses. So Alicia's saying the WA public health system was on the genocidal agenda 100%. Yes, I have a friend who works within that system over there, absolutely refuses to believe anything's going wrong. Doesn't understand it, can't give me any reason why all the nurse friends and doctors are disappearing, but there are quite a few who certainly are. Uh, just on numbers, I see somebody poked up here. Kathleen, numbers will force their hand, hopefully. Yes, hopefully numbers will force their hand, particularly with Blacktown Council. But we're looking at numbers over the country here too, folks. And I've got to say, there might be some exciting news coming up, well, in the next month or more about what's going to happen, particularly in Victoria. That'll be the next election space to be watching very closely. Also, A1 are looking at uh, being able to transform themselves into the party that everybody seems to think they should be. I noticed, pardon me one moment, I just need to bring up a lung. Um, I noticed that have been some comments regarding that status, that party status that A1 doesn't have. And there have been some quite insulting comments about it. I'm going to try really hard not to be insulting to those people, but A1 was never a party. Um, and it had never really, in truth, been planned to be a party, is my understanding of it. A1 is just a group of independents. Now, somebody tried to say that they were running an illegal campaign because A1 wasn't registered as a party. Well, no, they weren't. That's what you call independents. They're the people who don't register as a party. So let's get that straight. There is no illegalities whether you're a party or running as a party or not. A1 weren't running as a party. They weren't trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. The fact that you don't understand the party system is more an indictment of your education and how you understand what happens in the world than anything the A1 people are doing. So let's just be away with that one. And I think that people are being a little bit harsh at times with some of their criticism over the expectation of A1. Let's be honest, there were only 10 people in the entire country who were running with A1 support, and most of them started very late and did manage to get a good portion of the votes in their areas. Now, while the Senate vote is still being counted, and I was talking to Lindsay Temple just via text yesterday, he said it's still being counted as far as he knows. He's not expecting to win the seat, but nor were we. What we did get, though, was a whole heap of people who came out and met a whole heap of people with similar feelings. Personally, here on the Sunshine Coast, when I stuck my hand up and had 4.5 hours to get 100 signatures to nominate to run, I was inundated and got over 150 signatures. Now, it was wonderful, the support that the A1 people came out and gave me that, day and a bit it was, 3 hours one day and an hour and a half the next. Absolutely wonderful. And now, from that, I've met 150 other people who are now hooked into our group, who are part of this chat, who are part of my Facebook groups, part of the Project Matilda groups, and Donna and Mason. I just want to say thank you very much again for all your help during that period too. Two wonderful folks. Now, I wouldn't have met people like this if I'd have sat at home and thought, oh, somebody else will get up and do that. So this is getting to what Ricardo and I were discussing the other day. There's nothing fearful about sticking your hand up and wanting to make change. If the change you want to make is good, and I've found that there is so much support for anybody who wants to stand up and make change. We just can't wait until 2 days before the election nomination cycle ends to do it. So to that end, I think it's important now that if you've met people, physically met people, or you've grown to know people through groups online, it's time we started meeting up. So to that end, I know I've been saying it for now 2 weeks that we're going to do this on the Sunshine Coast, but I'm going to meet up some people here, and I'm happy to go to the Gold Coast and meet people down there too. I'm happy to go north and go up to Maryborough, maybe what's that, 3.5 hours from here, and meet people up there. If we can get together, we can have conversations, and out of those conversations, we can raise people up so that when the election cycle comes around next time, we do have a party and we do have enough people that the people in each electorate want to get behind so that we can make real change. Now, if that's something you'd like to be part of, let me know, because I'd be very keen to try and organise that. Thank you, Keith. Parties don't feature in the 1900 Constitution. You are 100% right, but if you're thinking that the 1901 Australian Constitutional Act is a constitution, you're barking up the wrong tree with me, my friend. That is not. That's a piece of paper that you could wipe your backside on, and it wouldn't have any difference in the world. And if you want to go to our Magna Carta 1215 Learning Centre, start at lesson 1. You'll understand exactly why I think that. Graham from Victoria went to the local supermarket with the missus, and out front, let me see, maybe easier if I actually click these up on the screen. Hey, you can probably see them then. They're saying if you're unvaccinated, you are to wear a mask. Wow. Well, I don't think they can enforce that in anywhere, Graham. Be interesting to see how they could actually enforce that. Yeah, given that there isn't anywhere. Uh, there is a great don't wear a mask. Nothing you can do anyway. I love that one. Um, yes, Christian, you are quite right. If you want to be part of A1, and look, A1 is about being an independent first and foremost. I don't believe in the party system either. I think the party system is what got us into this problem. But the the larger aspect, which has become really, really clear through this election cycle to me, is that we, the people, don't understand the election system. First and foremost, we don't understand how our vote works or how it works multiple times, or if indeed we want it to work multiple times if we're allowed to. The strange thing about that is neither does the AEC, it seems, has no bloody idea. Oh, well, their books get it right, but certainly their training classes do not. So some significant issues there. Um, just seeing a few more little things popping up. I am me. Yes, you are. The coming pandemic is here. You are absolutely right. The monkeypox. So, is this another pandemic? Well, yes, it is. You may have seen online. It's been traveling around recently. The table document that they played out in 2021, explaining how monkeypox was this disease that they were, acting against. Now, this was a tabletop exercise, but they played out a monkeypox outbreak, and I'm pretty confident that they used May 2022 as the outbreak date. And I can think we can expect sort of 70 odd deaths by the end of this month coming from one country alone to monkeypox, which is in fact shingles, which is really a symptom of the jab. So, there is a lot of fake news out there at the moment, a lot of fake stories about children. I saw one today on news.com.au explaining that children, there's been a significant increase in the amount of children turning up with strange, lung and heart issues. This has never happened before, but in the last 12 to 18 months, and particularly since the start of this year, these kids are turning up in much higher numbers, greater volumes. No one suggests the obvious. They seem to think it's because these kids caught COVID somewhere. That COVID that was 99.97% survivable when it first came out, now seems to be killing our kids. Truly, if you are stupid enough to believe that, then the fifth and sixth jabs are definitely for you, my friend, if you last that long. Um, there is absolutely no way that these kids are not getting sick because of the jab. I'm going to say. Let's see how long this channel lasts. So anyway, that's just where I sit with that. So yeah, shingles is definitely jab induced. If you've had chickenpox, you don't actually lose the chickenpox virus. It sits in your ganglia, around your ribs somewhere. And if your immune system gets low enough, it reactivates and comes back as shingles. So we know that immune systems are being suppressed after the jab. So take that from what you will. If you're going to get jabbed, there is half a chance that your immune system is going to take a bit of a battering. Now, clearly, a lot of people's immune systems are getting by okay, which is great. Thank God. They might be having some other issues further down the track, but right now everything's going really, really well. There's another group where, well, there's been a few more problems arise, and they seem to have come from, if you like, the second group of joinees in the jab fest, and now, of course, we're getting the third jab repercussions coming through from early 2022. We are not seeing any kind of real data coming out of Australia's, well, political areas where they should be monitoring these things, like the TGA. The TGA are not releasing figures, and the figures that we are getting from various different places are quite concerning. Thousands of people are dying. If you know a funeral director, one that isn't tied up with a big funeral directing company, see whether or not they'll talk to you. Ask them. Just ask them how busy they are. Ask them if they're, anything weird about the bodies these days, because that is the truth. A lot of these bodies can't be embalmed because they can't get the blood out of them. There is some serious, serious things going on in funeral homes around the country that I know a lot of, particularly older funeral directors, are very unhappy about, but are constrained because of the contracts that they are under with their masters who own, and these are big chains that own funeral homes, big chains, right? And a lot of these big chains are actually owned by doctors. I can tell you from personal experience that the doctors on the Gold Coast own you once you're in the hospital, and they also own the service that takes you from the hospital bed and stores you, will bury you as well, unless you choose to go and go to a different service, and it's all owned by doctors. So yeah, take from that as you will. But if you know a funeral director and you know them well, get a beer and see whether or not they'll tell you the truth about what's going on. Be interested to hear more. Okay, so look, that's about it for me at the moment. I am hopeful of getting an interview lined up for a little later on this afternoon. I've had two drop out on me this week. That's why things have been a little bit sparse. So I do apologise for that. We are hoping to get a lot more contact happening very soon with a variety of people from the freedom movement. So also hope to get a little bit more news directly from the Cossack base, but I wouldn't expect too much this week or over the weekend. Maybe by the end of next week we might get a little bit of an update. I will be talking to Mrs. Cossack over the weekend, so fingers crossed all will go well. Now, just to mention again, if you are sending your postcard in to the Aussie Cossack, please send it here. We have a new number that you need to put on there, 603977. That, I imagine, is his identification number. So Simeon Boykov, 603977, MRRC, Private Bag 114, Silverwater, New South Wales, 1811. Interesting postcode. Never seen that one before. And it is correct. I've checked it. So, yeah, make sure you include that 6-digit number, 603977. In fact, you could leave his name off it and just put that number on there. It'll find him. So I'm reliably informed. But the deal so far, just to wrap up what's going on with the Aussie Cossack, he is back inside as far as we're aware. On Monday, he pled guilty to a couple of charges. He will be sentenced to those charges on the 30th of June. I fully expect he will get a minimum of 12 months. I think there's every chance he will get the minimum. If he doesn't, he'll get 18 months. So, yeah, 12 months and out in 9 would be my guess. With time served, that'll put him out in sort of 7.5. So we'll wait and see what happens, and hopefully I'll have a little bit more information for you coming up soon. Christian is just saying here they didn't even show a warrant when they turned up at his door. No, they had a warrant to arrest him, not to search the unit, and that's why they were probably hesitant when they came in the door. Just so people are aware, Simeon had been warned on the Friday not to mention this person's name. Now, the reason the police came to him, they came to his door, and he hasn't shown you this interaction. I'm not sure that he filmed it, but I know that it happened. The police came to him and explained that the person that had been charged with these pedophile actions had been found guilty. They had not been sentenced yet, and they were allowed out on bail. That he was not to mention this person's name at all anywhere, and he was informed of the seriousness of the charges should he decide he did want to mention that name. Now, I don't need to go into the reasons why the police came and spoke to him about that and warned him of the situation. I just need to let you know that that's what they did. So bear that in mind with what you're thinking about the Aussie Cossack going forward. He's a very strong man. He has very strong convictions, and he is very definitely against the laws that protect the names of convicted pedophiles. That's something we should all focus on. That is not what he was charged with, but that is something that I think he's going to have to hang his hat on when he comes out now. And he and Darren Hinch, who has also been to jail on exactly the same charges, might form a very significant dynamic duo in the future. I don't know. Could we see the Justice Party starting up in New South Wales? Might be interesting. We'll see what happens. But that scared the shit out of a few people. All right, folks. If I don't talk to you before the weekend, you have a great one. If you are on the roads, then please be safe. I used to travel 100,000 Ks a year on the roads. There are plenty of dickheads on them. Don't be one. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you very soon. Thank you again for your support.